Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. This is the most deserved and best played petty revenge I've seen. Great job, OP. The fact that the guy took the time out of his day just to waste your time on the phone shows how pathetic he is. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Enjoy wasting 30 minutes of time at my work? Enjoy driving 2 hours to the other side of the city for nothing? So I work in the sales industry, specifically insurance. I know, right? My life's exciting. A gentleman called into the office and was inquiring about taking out a life insurance policy. The call itself was actually great, and he was one of the better people that I'd spoken to all day. The conversation was flowing very well, and he was just a friendly guy. He told me that he was a real estate agent and had been doing so for a few years, and started telling me about his family and all that, and his office is so close to his home, etc. When I was getting to the final part of the sales process, I started asking for his details, to which he gave willingly his full name, postal code, and telephone number. After about 30 minutes into the call and almost to the end of the call, he randomly says, "Hey, before we go any further, I've got to tell you something. I don't really want to take out a policy. I just enjoyed wasting your time because all you do is waste everyone else's time and go F yourself." And literally hung up on me. Now, I'm very good at copping abuse and a-hole customers over the phone as it's insurance, but never from someone else in the sales industry who understands what we have to go through. Anyway, I Googled his phone number and, surprise, surprise, the information he gave me was actually legit. It came up with his photo and the real estate agency that he was working for. Because he'd given me his postal code, I knew whereabouts in the state he lived. I decided to write his number down and postcode and keep it for later on. Fast forward exactly 2.5 weeks later, and I checked the listings from his agency and which ones were under his name. I found one listing that was a little over 2 hours away from his area. I sent him a text message asking if the listing is still open for inspection, as I'll be traveling interstate to check it out. He said that the only inspection times will be last Friday after 1 p.m., as he had other people checking out the property around then too. I then explained that due to my strict business schedule, I'd only be able to make a 10 a.m. inspection, but I expressed my sincere interest in the property. He actually called me, and I told him that I was looking at expanding my property portfolio and really persuaded him on my interest in an earlier inspection. We organized a 10:10 a.m. inspection for last Friday. Last Thursday evening, he sent a confirmation text to make sure I'd be there, to which I confirmed. Now, obviously, I wasn't going to show up, but it was satisfying to know that he woke up earlier, got ready, and drove an extra 2 hours to a place where I didn't arrive, and he had to wait another 3 hours until his other inspections arrived. There'd be no point in driving all the way back to the office to then just drive back for the 1 p.m. inspection, so this guy was just stuck there for a while. I received about 3 missed calls from the guy and then just blocked the number and went on my day. And our second story. Sir, you're talking to the manager of this department. I stumbled upon an old dog toys chest while cleaning out the attic, and it reminded me of something that happened about 7 years ago. So there you go. It was the year 2014. I'd gotten my dog trainer's license 2 years ago and soon found a job in a small but pretty popular dog training school. It was just a side job, but I loved it. Since I collected a lot of experience with dogs even before I got my license, I got assigned the department for complicated dogs. This dog school was basically the concept that dog owners called in with their dog, described exactly what it was they were looking for, play group, obedience training, help with a problematic dog, and we assigned them to one of the different types of departments. Obviously, as the stereotype shows it, I had to put up with a lot of dangerous dogs like pit bulls, American Staffordshire Terriers, and others, just because their owners thought it would be cool to train their dog to guard their property and not to have a smart big dog. Obviously, most of them realized later they couldn't handle the dog and sought help. Come the day, I was in the middle of training. This specific dog required their owners were away so I could work on the problems first without being disturbed, and had several dangerous dogs running around me because it was playtime. I don't remember their breeds exactly. I think it were 2 bloodhounds, a Staffordshire Terrier, and some bull terriers or pit bulls. The peaceful atmosphere gets disturbed by someone yelling something over the fence around the small field. One dog starts barking and gets completely furious, trying to storm to the fence and sets the other dogs into angry mode too. I somehow manage to collect them and leash them to some extra posts so they can't do anything stupid. Already pissed because at the fence there's a sign, if in use, don't disturb, and because whoever this was just put my own health at serious risk, I walk over to the fence and there's a guy standing and looking incredibly mad. The conversation went about like that. G equals guy, me equals me. Me, hello sir, how can I help you? G, what are you doing? These are dangerous dogs, I'll call the police. Note, I'm actually a pretty small girl and look younger than I am. Maybe that's what set him off? Me, sir, what are you talking about? G, they're dangerous dogs. You need to get out of there. You're not allowed in here. Me, sir, I work here. G, stop lying. You're too young and weak to work here. Tries to open the gate. Thank God it was locked exactly because of this. Me, sir, I really do work here. Please don't damage the gates. They're locked for a good reason. G, liar. How'd you even get in there? Me, desperately waves keys in front of his face. G, you surely stole the keys. I'll call the police. Me, exhausted and worried, because the pit bulls behind me start making very angry noises. Fine, do it, but maybe you go to the office behind you first if you've got any complaints. He went to the office and I finally could get back to the dogs, who at this point were completely losing it, and I had to be very careful. Sometime later, the guy comes back with one of my assistants, but in another group. He points at me and starts yelling something, to which I just sigh and put the dogs away. As I walk over, my assistant recognizes me, sighs, and turns to the guy, explaining that I'm basically his boss. Guy stares at me and starts saying how that's not possible because a weak woman can't handle these big, dangerous dogs, and how he's going to report that to the police, and finally storms off. The result of this encounter was putting up another sign at the entrance of the property to direct any issues with the trainers to the office, and me having lost the training progress of 2 days. Great. I don't work there anymore, but I thought of maybe sharing this story. Just don't assume just because someone doesn't look like he fits for the job, it means he doesn't work there. Also, if he's got the keys. And our next story. Friend is not happy with wedding present of free legal work. I'm a property lawyer in Ireland. Here we're called solicitors. In Ireland, if you want to buy or sell a house, you need to hire a solicitor to do the legal work in transferring the property. There's a lot of paperwork, especially when getting a mortgage. My minimum fee is €800, approximately $1,000, but usually twice that. Now, my wife has this friend, CB, who was her best friend until this happened. CB was a bridesmaid at our wedding, but when CB got married a few years ago, she had a small wedding with no bridesmaids. She made it clear that she and her husband were saving to buy a house, and could everyone give them cash for a wedding present. Again, this is not unusual in Ireland. I thought I'd go one further, and for our wedding present to CB, inside our card, I left a note to say that when they bought a house, I would do the legal work free of charge. So instead of a cash present of €200 or €300, she instead got services worth over €1,000 when you add taxes. After the wedding, it's normal to send thank you cards for the presents, but we got none. My wife heard secondhand that CB was not happy with our present. Anyway, a few months later, CB and her husband bought a small house, and I did all the legal work for the conveyance and mortgage as promised, free of charge. When I asked them for the land registry fees, which were about €500 at the time, she acted surprised and said she thought I was doing it for free. I had to explain that my services were free, but she had to pay expenses like property tax and registration fees. She reluctantly paid this. In fact, I think she had to borrow from her mother for these charges, as she assumed that there would be no cost at all. When the work was completed, I got no thanks, not even praise for all the hard work I did. It was several months before my wife and I were invited to visit. We're still friendly, but things definitely cooled between my wife and CB after that. And our last story. No, you can't destroy anything you wish. Story. All right, so Karen lives fairly close to us, and yesterday, oh boy. They had constructed speed breakers just yesterday and told every parent to restrain their kids from going near them or anyone driving a car on them for at least 3 hours. Karen ignores the message and lets her kids play the entire evening, so they clearly were completely demolishing the entire speed breaker, and it had not been less than an hour ago the message came. They contact her and repeat the message to her, and she starts screaming like a banshee at them that she's accusing her of being dumb. Dumb! Her words, not mine. Also, it's ironic coming from her. Then she tells them they can do whatever the heck they want. I'm not going to drag it again. They leave with a warning, clearly stating that if they do this again, the police will be involved. Okay. Then the kids do the exact same thing. And then the security escorts them to Karen and also give them a last warning and repeat the message. The kids start crying when they see Karen, and when they do, she slaps the freaking security. They forgive this. It had only been an hour and a half since the original message was given, and then oof. The Karen literally takes her vehicle. Stupidity. On its peak, when she reaches the bumps, the car gets stuck and the speed breaker just collapses. Security's called again, and they told her that the warning was given not once, not twice, but thrice to the lady, and she still did the stupid thing. She threatened to sue, the police were called, the Karen gets arrested for destroying stuff. Don't do this. 2 hours later, GD, Karen, again? Too much stupidity to facepalm enough. We'd get brain damage equal to this Karen. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.